Welcome to UX India 2025. Hi, I'm Gaurangi and I have with me Bhaskar Singh Tomar, who is a principal researcher at Salesforce.
Right.
Thank you so much, sir, for taking in the time to talk to us, and we are really glad to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you. So today we'll be deep diving more into how research and AI come together
Yeah.
to build better experiences.
Sure.
So let's get on to it.
Absolutely. Ready when
First
you
of
are.
all, just to start off, I would love to know how is everything going around well?
Yeah, it's good. I just landed in Hyderabad yesterday. It's been one of my favorite cities in the country. To just see the development happening here is crazy. And I've been given such a warm welcome by everybody here at UX India. So very, feeling very pleasant about it. So
Are
here.
you excited for your talk? Yes.
I am. I just hope other people are equally excited about the talk as well.
We definitely are. Us, me personally, and everyone on the team.
Awesome,
Yes, we
awesome.
are.
Thank you
and
so much.
everyone who is coming in to attend, everyone is.
Brilliant.
So-
I look forward to that, yes.
Thank you so much. And so, if we talk more about it, can you please tell how research is actually getting more better
Mhm.
with AI?
Yeah.
Or like the role of AI and research together, how is
Yeah.
it? Because traditionally we take research as a very traditional ground process.
Yeah.
So adding AI to it, is it making it better? Just your views.
Well, people have different opinions about it, but I'm on the side of it making it better and faster and stronger in a way that you can perhaps reinforce multiple methods within a very short span of time, essentially. Just to take a step back, I don't think just research as a vertical or a stream is essentially changing via AI. Almost everything around us in the service and IT industry is there's going to be a tectonic shift in these areas.
Definitely.
And I think research is definitely one major component or part of it. The way that I see it changing is, I think, mixed methods getting incorporated far more effectively and with a greater velocity, I would say. I know that many of my stakeholders historically in other organizations may consider research to be a function that slows process down instead of like giving it an acceleration. And I think AI can come to our rescue to basically be the torchbearers of doing fast and good research in the future as opposed to something that takes a while to do.
Yeah, right. Research is actually the main key element for delivering anything, whether it be UX or a physical experience.
Yep.
So, what role actually research plays, or I would say, at what scale research plays this role in delivering good outcomes at Salesforce,
Yeah.
to be particular,
Sure.
or even in general?
I'll start with Salesforce
Yes,
because that's closer to my heart. I think in Salesforce, research is a strategic function. So many of my colleagues out there in the industry are or term themselves as UX researchers. Almost all researchers here at Salesforce are product and strategy researchers, right? So we get to execute research from the likes of pricing and packaging strategy, go-to-market strategy, product development lifecycle, and UX as well. So I think the meaty projects that one gets to work on is kind of incredible working here at Salesforce. Within the larger industry as well, I think research has the potential for sure to be a forcing function for product, UX, and engineering teams in a way that guiding them in terms of which capabilities or features to develop in the near future, helping them understand what the customers truly want and getting them closer to the customers. Historically, I've seen in many organizations, I would argue most organizations, wherein the creators, and by creators I mean engineers, product managers, designers, everybody, right? They're so excited to bring these new features and capabilities into the world that sometimes one can perhaps stop asking the customers, do they really even want it? So I think getting that validation across the product lifecycle, I think, is where research functions really works well. That's, I think, the biggest forte of making sure that the company's resources are being used for something that will actually be needed by the customers as opposed to be redundantly placed.
Right, that is very true. Like sometimes we do feel research can be a bit tiring, a bit tedious, and we kind of at times try to neglect it and be like, we can do it, we know what the user wants.
Yeah.
So, like working at such a big company or at such a big scale, how do you actually make sure that people don't just do it by themselves and actually put in the effort to do the real research and deliver the real results?
I would say that that's been my motto in life, that they will not necessarily hear you when you say it, they will see it when you show it. So that's what I essentially focus on the most, wherein whenever I join a team, and I tend to like float from one team to the other quite frequently, I make sure that within the first few weeks, within the first month, they're actually seeing research deliverables of extremely high quality, so that sets the benchmark for what needs to follow. So if you have set the expectations essentially so high with your product and strategy stakeholders, then they will stop for nothing less. And the idea here is that ensuring that higher degree of quality convinces and reinforces within my product stakeholders and design stakeholders that this function needs to be incorporated within all intersections of how they develop, the product, essentially.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Impressive. So as you just mentioned that in research, like you need to use AI, even if you are at a very small scale or at any scale. So what is the process? If you could just show us the process for like the new beginners who are trying to be at the place that you are right now. What are the footsteps they could follow? What is the mindset they could have? The main idea of actually delivering what the customer needs.
Okay. So just to have a follow-up question there, are you asking about AI incorporation within research and how successfully we can incorporate it, or maybe a case study of how we deliver robust insights, which
Yeah, that would be great.
Oh,
A
okay.
case study would be the best answer to this.
Great. So I think in one of my previous organizations, I was essentially a part of the growth team who would experiment with, let's say, hundreds of different ideas, and they would do A/B testing of those ideas and try to see whether or not these ideas are even working. While that's a great way to work, my argument to the team was that you are utilizing engineering design resources and developing these many ideas, and then after launching them to a certain set of customers, realizing that half of them don't work.
Right.
How about we sort of try to understand whether or not this is required by the end user? And that was a B2C organization. So the end user was everyday people like you and me. Would even be interested in these capabilities. And then we launched a set of comprehensive ethnographic research, wherein we would go to different demographics across India and try to understand what their buying behavior looks like. Is it just about whether or not they like the product? Is it also about the cost associated with it, the checkout experiences, how the UI of the application essentially feels, and whether or not that has an impact on them going ahead with like the commerce funnel, essentially. So once we presented those insights to the growth team, they realized that while they would still want to continue with A/B testing, they drastically reduced the amount of resources that they were actually putting into it, because we were able to give them answers before anything was constructed to begin with.
Wow.
So when you save money for the organization, of course, it showcases a huge degree of value there. Yeah.
Exactly. That is impressive. So, as ethnography is based on total field research, you need to go meet people a ground study.
Yeah.
So can you just tell us more about how is it done?
Oh, yeah. I would argue, so right now I'm in B2B software as a service organization. I would argue platform as a service organization. So I don't often get to do as much field research as one would like to do. But historically, whenever I had conducted field research, I think one guidance that I would want to give everybody is field research, the actual research part of that is considerably easier and smaller than executing everything from logistics to making sure that the NDAs are signed, the participants are aware of the fact where their insights or their opinions are going to land in, taking care of those compliance measures, logistics measures, booking your flights at the right time, booking your hotels at the right time. All that logistics comes into play when it comes to field research a lot. That to me is far more difficult, or for teams is far more difficult than conducting an interview or conducting, a focus group discussion with different, demographic groups. Essentially, that I think you're trained for in, schooling, higher college education, wherever you have learned research, but the real world is very tricky, and navigating around that, I think, is the part that I absolutely loved learning, but at the same time, that's the one that is challenging. The other thing that I found very interesting about field research was how you need to gain trust from the participants, despite having perhaps very different backgrounds, contexts, upbringings, personalities than those participants as well. So the idea of amalgamating yourself within those contexts, I found that very interesting. I loved doing that. It's almost like I would argue it's a higher degree of empathy, wherein you're not just empathizing with those participants, with those users during that conversation, but those conversations remain with you.
Definitely.
And you take that essence with your final reporting to the the key executive leadership of the organization as well. So I think developing that soul in your narrative and in your conversations and delivering that and convincing leaders to make a change because of that. And I think that's what I absolutely love about field research.
Yes.
You can conduct a lot of surveys, and yes, numbers make a huge amount of impact on the leadership. But when they watch a video of a user saying, I will never use this because this is too complex, there is nothing replacing that, right? So I think in certain ways and in certain contexts and conversation, it actually works better than surveys and numbers and quant research as well.
Yes, definitely. A conversation can prove the things that a passage cannot, even the numbers cannot.
Yeah.
It connects more with the heart to heart, and you get to know what the person is actually feeling. And sometimes people don't even know what they are trying to tell, what they are trying to actually convey, and where the problem lies. So it is as you just said, research is not just the research that you're doing, it is the backside, the whole study that you do and the whole preparations that you do just to get ready for the next day proper field research.
Correct.
So
that nothing can go wrong there in those 3 hours. Yeah. And one thing, and thanks for touching upon that point, I think one other thing that I would advise everybody to embrace and absorb at their end is when you conduct field research, when you conduct even virtual sessions with participants, whether they're one-on-one interviews or panel discussions, observing what they're not saying, I would argue is an art that many have lost. And I think that tells a true researcher almost as much as what they are demanding or asking for, or surfacing their grievances or issues with the product as well. So understanding if they are clicking on an application, and if they're waiting for a minute without clicking anything else, prompting users on why the wait, right? I mean, they won't say that themselves, but you kind of nudge them to be able to understand why is that behavior happening.
Right.
I think that is where the flavor of research truly shines.
Definitely.
And sometimes you would see that participants, of course, will not necessarily know about the product as much as you do. So really putting yourself in their shoes and trying to understand why they are stopping at different instances during the conversations and during the testing of those applications and products, that gives you a lot more context. Sometimes I have been in research sessions wherein we would think that it is a typical industry setting or an office setting that the participants will be performing those tasks in. And the moment you go, you realize that it's COVID. Nobody is actually working from office. The participant who is, let's say, a program manager is working with their toddlers in the living room while there's background noise happening and there is something playing on TV, and they're still executing their tasks, right? So that gives you a lot better idea of
Real world.
what the real world looks like and in what setting are your products actually being leveraged and used. Because we try to paint this perfect picture of corporate offices wherein everybody works.
Right.
In today's reality, that's not necessarily the case for all organizations. And in the context of B2C, that's quite opposite, right? When we leverage products like e-commerce platforms, or you just want to buy groceries here in India.
Everything is online.
Yeah, you might be in very odd places when you're making those choices. So that also has a significant amount of impact in how you can include that within the experience without omitting that.
That
I think that's
is the key. That is the whole
Yeah.
main task. Once you do it, it's done.
Absolutely.
And that's the experience you need.
Absolutely. And also understanding different generations and how their ways of working are also different. So I remember one of my colleagues, I'm a millennial, so I'm used to Google search, right? And I was, at my alma mater, and I was conducting a session with those students, and they were like, oh, we can GPT it for you. So I think understanding a lot about different generations' behavior as well. Within the same context, we come from very similar socio-economic backgrounds. The only parameter that kind of switches in that case is the time that has passed, right? The different
Yes,
generations. So
definitely.
considering those as well within your data points is something that I have found very useful. Yeah.
Right. So, like, just as you said, sometimes getting into someone's shoes is easier said than done.
Oh, yeah.
And just talking about empathy is not the whole idea. You
Yeah.
actually have to get involved. You
Yeah.
have to be with them and understand them. So, as you mentioned, COVID,
Yeah.
could COVID be that turning point where things actually were like, okay, this could be a new way, things could get online? And is that, like, could we relate it with the
Oh, yeah.
AI shift in research?
It's very similar to AI shift in a way that it was gargantuan, right? It was a massive shift. So in the research community, unfortunately or fortunately, researchers are somehow identified as pre-COVID researchers and post-COVID researchers.
Really?
Yeah, and pre-COVID researchers would have conversations within, team meetings and lunch settings, and they'd be like, you're missing out on so much because you're not getting to go to the field as much as we guys used to go, right? And that also is a huge learning experience. That's also why I know many researchers actually became researchers. That's why they joined this work, which can be
Interesting.
very intense a lot of times, right? So post-COVID researchers, I think, if that's even a term now, I have realized that their field research work has diminished quite a bit. a lot of researchers I know in corporate settings, in B2B, as well as even B2C settings, they've never had a one-on-one interview in a city outside of their office. So they might actually conduct Starbucks sessions with some of their potential participants. But oftentimes we are seeing researchers who have kickstarted their careers by just having virtual sessions, by just having quantitative methodologies being incorporated, by rolling out surveys, but not actually ever being in that field setting with those participants, which I find fascinating. And I've not conducted a research in that space, but I would absolutely love to understand how that shapes, the research community moving forward, if the shift is that massive. With AI, I think the shift is helping a lot of researchers transition from experts in one kind of research to mixed methods researchers in the truest of sense, and kind of experiment and dab into other methodologies and other approaches as well. So for example, I started my career as a qualitative researcher, which essentially means that now with AI, I find it so easy to roll out quantitative surveys to 2,500, 3,000 potential respondents, and be able to also leverage the value that those numbers will provide in your corporate and contextual settings as well. So I think that not only the velocity of research has increased significantly, one can argue, but also the diversity of methodologies that you get to play around with. Because making a screener is not a problem when there's Gemini and GPT at your working as interns for you, basically, right? And research plans can be created in, I would argue, fraction of the time that we used to initially create those research plans in. And these are tools which, if you teach them once, they will learn it forever, and they will continue learning it, right? And they will continue churning out more mature sort of documentation, as well as more better analysis of the transcripts and of the videos that you are recording. So I think that these tools, AI tools, are actually helping us becoming high velocity researchers and at the same time truly mixed methods researchers. So my argument in today's day and age is that we may not actually have quant researchers and qual researchers as a differentiation in the next 3 to 4 years. You may be expected to, do quant research in 1 quarter and, conduct qualitative sessions as a follow-up to that study. So you really need to become a mixed methods researchers in today's day and age. And I would push that argument even ahead by hypothesizing that further ahead, one might not even actually see differentiation of UX research, market research, analytical research, these all different, or even competitive research, right? So there are teams in bigger organizations who look at competitor experiences and competitor features, and they provide competitive analysis. Right. I would argue that you will perhaps have one team called research team, and they will need to do competitive analysis and do quant research and do qualitative research, and perhaps also dab into analytics at any given point as well.
Wow, that was actually eye-opening, because even I think of myself as a future UX researcher or just a researcher in one word.
Yeah.
And I had no idea about these terms like post-COVID, pre-COVID.
Well, I might actually be making those terms up as well.
They definitely seem interesting.
Yeah.
And so it was like a very wholesome conversation.
Oh, thank you.
And we have actually touched down on all the major points: AI, research, future of AI, future of research.
Yeah.
And I truly enjoyed it.
Oh, lovely.
And I am sure everyone watching this video is going to enjoy it.
Awesome.
So just to summarize it all, we have a small rapid fire round.
Sure.
So are you ready for it?
Yeah.
I'll shoot a few questions. You
Always
need to
ready.
answer it in one word.
Okay.
So let's start. Describe yourself in one word.
Weird. Yeah, that's the word
one.
I'll choose.
That's one. I would too. What's one book or movie you find inspiring?
Oh, there's a movie that's actually very close to my heart. It didn't make a lot of money at the box office and no one talks about it. It's a movie called Miss Lone. And it is about a woman with very strong convictions and the extent to which she's able to go to just to make sure that she's proving a point.
Wow.
And sometimes as a researcher, you feel like that, right? So it's one of my favorite movies that way. And that's something that I often end up quoting whenever I work, and no one around me is able to understand that. I'm sorry, that was not a one-word answer, but
No, it
just wanted to
was.
give you some context.
Movie was one
Yeah.
word, so it counts.
Yeah.
Actually, I even myself have never heard it.
I
but
would highly
I will
recommend.
definitely watch it now.
Awesome.
So what's the best part about your workday?
Oh, the best part about my workday is talking to people, I would say.
Definitely.
The best part is to be in a position wherein you can help resolve a large volume of customers' issues, right? Because the impact can be quite significant. And at the same time, you can also help your product and strategy teams take the right decisions and sometimes take credit for that. I think that's definitely the best part about my job.
Nice. So what do you love about UX India?
Oh, I'm actually loving the camaraderie and the connections that people are open to making, and the different backgrounds and the kind of diversity that they're bringing along and surfacing during these conversations as well. I think in the world of research, especially like APAC or India-based researchers, they often don't necessarily come from the typical research disciplines like sociology or anthropology, right?
right.
A lot of them are designers, converted researchers. A lot of them are product management, converted researchers. You have QAs who are researchers. There's a lot, right?
Right.
It's been a part of my community, and whenever I come to like the design community, I feel the same, right? And I kind of feel home because I'm also I was trained as a designer. So coming back to these colorful people, it's always a blessing, because as much as researchers can feel dull and 50 shades of beige, it's events like this wherein we really get to show our colorful self.
Like the brighter side of a researcher's mind.
Oh yeah. Brighter side is always there. I would say colorful side.
Right. Just to term it better.
Yeah.
So if not design, what other field would you be in?
Oh.
If not research and design?
I'm pretty sure everybody in the audience wouldn't know about it. I've changed my careers quite a lot. So I was actually a town planner for DLF once.
Oh.
And I transitioned to graphics design after that, and then to information design specialization at NID. I worked as a UX designer for a while, and then I worked as an AR, VR designer, like a mixed reality designer, and then transitioned into UX research. So I've actually had half a dozen career changes already. So I think I don't believe in having a different life. I've lived a different life at,
You can always have it.
every 2 years it's a different life. So that's what it is.
That is so fun. That is so interesting. Thank you so much for taking in this time.
Happy to.
Having a chat with you was actually the perfect day, a perfect start to today.
Oh, awesome. I'm glad about that.
Thank you.
Thank you.